So let's talk about how to make your left hand patterns sound huge and authentic and powerful and all that good stuff. So I want to show you some techniques I've been using for all my life. So basically the past 20 years of my piano playing career. I use a handful of left hand patterns and they all work great, and some I use for this effect. So let's talk about the first aspect to getting these great sounds in the left hand, and it's range. So when I talk about range, I'm using the range of the notes and wider intervals, things like that. So let me show you a left hand pattern that works really well to get this type of range here. Let me show you something that is staying pretty much within a conservative range. That's pretty. It works really well. I'm using some nice left-hand patterns, but what about the range? I want to get that punch that we're talking about. So all I have to do is something like this. So in the beginning of the part, these patterns are fine. Okay, now the second chord. First chord was A minor, right? But when I hit C, I want to get that depth. There it is. Yeah. Let me play it slower so you could see exactly what I'm doing here. And I'll play at normal speed. That left-hand pattern, I call the spread eagle pattern, and it's a simple pattern I show when you sign up to my free course here. I have a PDF outlining some of these patterns that I'm using. So the spread eagle takes advantage of the range. You see that stretch? So I'm playing middle C, then G, and I'm using G, which is finger number 2, as a pivot point to reach up to E. See, with range, we're talking about how the intervals are created here. So I'm hitting a 5th and going from G to E, which is a major 6th. And this pattern repeats, so I'm just taking it up an octave. Now that's what creates that. As opposed to maybe a closer sounding chord which doesn't have much range, or a closer sounding pattern. Here's the same octave but something different. Here's the spread eagle pattern. So the whole example would sound like this. Ooh, that E major, right? What am I doing there? It's simple. E, I'll play the melody. E, B, E. Crossing over with finger number 3 to G sharp. And I'm just playing an E major triad. I call this the wonder wave pattern, and it's kind of like a wave because you're crossing over with finger number 3 over the thumb, like this. See the crossover happening? That's the only way I could think of it as a wave. That's some range there. I'm going 1, 2, like 2.5 octaves. See the crossover? 5, 2, 1, 3. After the thumb, I cross over again with 3. And that puts me in finger number 2 and 1 to hit. Kind of goes right in the hand. So that's the range. Now, what about dynamics? That's the second part in getting these epic sounds here. Very simple. What I like to do is just to accent the bottom note or the first note in my left hand pattern to give it some oomph. You know, it's like the gas pedal. Just press on the gas when you want more of that. So going back to the A minor chord and then the C major, the spread eagle pattern, let's go back to that little section. I'll show you what I'm doing. Super simple, but it makes such a huge difference. The beginning of this. Remember the spread eagle? All I have to do is hit the first note in that pattern louder than the other notes. See what that does? But the trick is, I'm playing all the other notes really soft, so it's giving the illusion that it's big, right? I think in terms of dynamics is if you're playing one note the loudest and the other soft, it creates a big dynamic range and you're getting a lot more depth, right? It sounds bigger. But when you play all the notes at the same velocity, it sounds smaller to me. I don't know. Let me give you an example of what I'm trying to do. That's all at the same velocity. If I played it all loud. But hitting that first note loud and the rest soft, I think it's way more appealing sound-wise. Versus no dynamics in the left hand. Versus that. It's hard for me to play bad. I've just been doing it this way for so long. So that's the second aspect in getting these epic sounding left hand patterns. And lastly, I'd like to talk about just the overall push and pull of the tempo. When I have a lot of notes coming on or something's big and dynamic, I slow it down just a tad. I pull back just a bit to allow the low bass notes to resonate more. It's a beautiful sound. Check it out. So you see right after that C major spread eagle pattern, it picked up tempo right back at G. So intentionally, I'll just ramp the tempo right back up. So here it is again. Just listen this time. I just want to show you when you have a large volume of low bass notes, just take the tempo back a tiny bit, let those big bass notes breathe. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it for these 3 tips on how to make your left-hand patterns sound more majestic. And if you're curious about these left-hand patterns I'm using, I created a wonderful PDF with my top 6 left-hand patterns that you could use, and it goes along with an hour tutorial video. So check it out. The link is in the description here, a free course, my gift to you. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.